Everyone should have a data analyst portfolio, but just having one isn't enough. Recruiters literally scream seeing people make the same mistakes every single day, and a job-ready portfolio is the fastest way to get hired as a new data analyst. So here are 7 key things to help you build a really good one right now. Starting with the first key, which is diversification. It's important to create a diverse portfolio that can show your skills in multiple ways. If you only have projects about data cleaning, it does not show your ability to go through the entire data science lifecycle. But that's pretty obvious, right? You want to show multiple aspects of your data skills in your portfolio. But here's where people screw up. All projects are not equally important. Even though you should diversify and include various projects, you should focus more on certain aspects, which we'll cover later in this video. Moving on to number 2, you'll want to focus on context. Frame your projects around real-world business questions, because the goal isn't to create some fancy graph, it's to make data useful for companies. For example, you might be trying to understand your customers better to see what makes a loyal customer, or you want to improve your marketing and see what you should avoid in the future. The idea is that you must remember, why are you doing this project and why are you putting it in your portfolio in the first place? If you can't answer these types of questions, then it's probably not a good project for your portfolio. Just keep business context in mind. Alright, so now we have key number 3. Create visualizations. Now wait a second, because every visualization should have a clear purpose. Whether it's a chart, a graph, or a dashboard, they should tell a story and give useful insights. Recruiters are not going to look at the entire project. They'll focus on certain parts, like what insights you actually got from the project. And this knowledge shouldn't stay in your head. Other people need to know about it. But the problem is also that a visualization can be terrible, even if it's beautiful and if it's using the correct data, because you might not even need to visualize it in the first place. Focus on first defining what you actually need to visualize and then what to skip. And then you can start thinking about how you can visualize that in the best possible way, but not all visualizations are actually worth it and you need to prioritize. So let's move to key number 4. This happens so often that it can't even be called a mistake anymore, and it's actually really easy to fix. Data projects may include code, whether it's SQL, Python, or R. And when you're working in a company, you're not doing it all alone most of the time. Somebody else must be able to look at your work, your code, and jump in and help you. Creating a project without proper documentation is like telling the recruiter that you can't work with other people, and it's really damaging. I know I'm being harsh, but it's better to hear it from me than from the recruiter, or actually they're not going to tell you, they're just going to decline it. So write readable, reusable code with clear comments, and then upload your project to a platform like GitHub with clear explanations showing how to follow along and use the code that you've actually written. The key idea here is to never assume that other people know something. Clarify, it's the easiest way to avoid misunderstandings, and this actually goes for way more than just coding, by the way. A portfolio can never be good without good projects. Simple as that. And I know it sounds a little bit too obvious, but there's a catch. Because this realization often makes people stress when they begin. They think that creating good projects is so hard that they never actually get started. So here's how to create the best portfolio project to actually land a job in just 3 minutes. Alright, that's not possible, but if I do find a magic solution, I promise to tell you guys first, okay? But here is the good news, right? So you actually don't need as many projects as you might think. The best portfolios include fewer but more polished projects that align with your interests. This means that you don't have to do as much work and about random projects, and you can focus on things that actually interest you, which is better. Avoid generic projects that everyone is doing as well. They can be pretty dangerous, and even if they're great to practice with, they're not always the best at portfolio projects, simply because the recruiter has already seen them 1,000 times. But I would say that even the most overused projects can actually be made better if you do personalize it. If you make a project more unique, you add some of your own touch to it, you add some things, you modify things, it can be a better portfolio project, even if it's one of the classic ones. And regardless of what you do, don't be afraid of adding your own touch to the project, because that's what really makes it your project and makes it easier to talk about and more unique. But now we're ready for key number 6. All skills are not equal in data analytics. Skills like Python, SQL, Excel, and more all have a set value to employers on the job market. And to increase your value as a candidate, you want to show your in-demand skills through your portfolio. Now you can choose your path here, because you can either use one skill per project, like for example cleaning and doing some visualization with Power BI or Tableau, or you could try to incorporate multiple skills into one, like for example using SQL for querying and cleaning data, Excel for creating pivot tables, and Python or R for automation or visualization. But as a warning, if you do decide to do multiple in one, just make sure that you use them in a way that makes sense and for what they're actually good at. Because if you just use SQL for random use cases, it might be a little bit weird, and like don't use Excel for cleaning a huge data set when you have other tools to do so. And key 7 is where most people fail, because you can create a really good portfolio, but it's actually what you do with your portfolio that matters the most. Having a portfolio is not going to be helpful, it's not going to get you a job, it's not going to do anything. You need to share it. Get feedback, let people know that you're working on a portfolio, that you're focused on data science and analytics. And you can also go beyond just creating a portfolio, because some create more like a personal blog, like on Medium, and some make posts on LinkedIn. And this can be as simple as sharing what you worked on this week. Like, kind of think about it, right? If you're hiring someone, step into their shoes of, of the recruiter. Would you hire the guy with zero activity about data analytics on their profile, or the guy that's posting about it every single week, doing his projects and things like that, and actually being open about it? I think it's always worth considering the recruiter's perspective when we are essentially looking to, well, make them happy. So it's a pretty good thing to do. Thanks for watching this video, and hope to see you in the next one somewhere on the screen for more things about data analytics. I'll see you there.